This here, brothers and sisters, is sexy Lara Croft looking perky in very stringy bikini. If you like, remember to follow on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook for more pictures like this one.
One Piece, Chapter 83, Luffy in Black.
Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the gripping and action-filled tale of One Piece. Our last chapter saw us with, the action starting to heat up. Luffy had walked in and pretty much cold-cocked Arlong. And Momu, the giant sea cow from the Grand Line, was sicked on him, as well as all of Arlong's pirates kind of charged him. Luffy had basically rooted himself in the ground by stomping both of his feet down to stick himself into the ground, and then twirling himself up and pretty much winding himself up, and then unleashing the Gomu Gomu whirlwind and knocking the Momu just way the hell out of Arlong Park and taking out all the pirates in the mix. So that's how everything ended up over there, and that's where this picks up. We see some of the fisher Genzo and the folks from the village, from Cocoa Village, kind of like, they're like, oh my god, this human just went and took out this beast from the Grand Line and just whipped it out here like it was nothing, and they're all kind of in awe. Let's see what he can do. So Arlong's henchmen, Choo and Hachi and Kuroobi, they're like, don't get angry, Lord Arlong. It's okay. We'll take care of this deal, right? So Luffy's still rooted in the ground, mind you, right? And Hachi goes and he's just like, oh yeah, and he's gearing up and he's like, he says, something, octopus ink, and I thought there was a kind of a funny exchange. What's his name? Zoro says, yeah, that octopus is up to something funny. And then Sanji, who's the cook, right? He's like, octopus is best served sliced with a dash of paprika and a little bit of olive oil and goes good with booze. And I just thought it was comical the way he said that. So anyway, Hachi winds up unleashing this ink attack on them, and everybody's able to dive out of the way except for Luffy. Luffy just gets covered in ink, and Sanji's like, "What the hell? Why are you just standing there?" And Luffy's like, "I can't move. His feet are still stuck in the ground from when he, planted himself in to do that whirlwind attack." So he's covered in ink, from head to toe. Just looks hilarious, and anyway, so Sanji goes in, and then Hachi goes and he goes to pick up a big thing of rock, just a giant like mountain of rock, and he's gonna whip it at Luffy, and Sanji comes in and just whack, he just sidekicks and crash, just busts this in half, and Luffy's like, oh, thanks, bud. so Sanji comes in to save the day, and there's a funny exchange too about like, hey, you know what you did? Now you went and you joined the fight on behalf of our dingbat captain over here, and then Sanji's like, yeah, but it's better than a bunch of woman-hating crap pirates anyway, so he's not so bad, So he goes and Kuroobi goes and says something about, yeah, that's pretty strong for a human, but pretty noble of you as a pirate, something along those lines. And basically Sanji and him kind of challenge each other to a duel. So they're going to pair off and they're going to be fighting each other, because Sanji's pretty much like, yeah, I'll beat your ass, So as that's happening, Hachi goes to pick up another piece of rock to take out Luffy, and the whole time Usopp now is trying to pull him out of pull his feet out of, he's holding his body and he's stretching him and he's pulling him further and further back, and he's like, are you free yet? No. Are you free yet? No. So he's going to do that, and Zoro winds up going and getting Hachi's attention, and he's like, hey you, why don't you, he's busy right now, why don't you worry about me, And he goes, oh yeah, Zoro, you're the one that made a fool of me and took out my crewmates, So he goes and directs his attention and throws the big piece of debris or rock that he picked up at Zoro. Usopp goes and he lets go of Luffy for a second, gives him the thumbs up and goes, okay, great, thanks, Zoro. Luffy goes flying forward, right? And nails Choo, the one that's always the kisser fish, the starfish, always going smack, and smacking his lips, nails him, right? And and then Luffy's like, damn it, I'm back where I started, you know. It's just a real comical exchange while this whole action scene's going on. So then Usopp and this Choo, they're going to kind of pair off and fight each other, right? Because Choo then is coming after Usopp. And Usopp starts running like a madman. And he just, you know, I mean, he did a road runner up. Beep, beep, you know, and just took off, got out of there. And runs right past the villagers and everything. So he goes in, and he's being chased, of course, by Choo. And Choo goes and, you know, stops and gives the villagers some shit. Oh, hey, you have weapons, and I think this is a rebellion. You know what we do for rebellions? And right as he's about to say that, right, Usopp goes and nails him. Fire star, right? And he goes, hey, you're fighting me, buddy. Try to remember that. We're opponents. And he goes taking off, you know, beep, beep, and goes taking off. And they're like, what the hell is wrong with that boy, you know? And they're like, well, he's a little bit odd, but, you know, he's got a lot of heart, so... I thought it was, you know, pretty comical, and Yosaku and Johnny are still out there, so I don't know if they're going to give Usopp a hand because, you know, to take out this Choo. So it goes back into the, you know, to Arlong Park over there, and Luffy, of course, is still, you know, comically caught in the ground, and they're still begging Arlong not to get involved. You know, Hachi is. He's like, it's okay, just chill, boss. Don't worry about it. You know what happens when you get mad. So Arlong, he's like, you know what? He's tired of this shit, and then Luffy goes and, you know, goes to nail him, and stretch his arm out and hit him, and he goes and he kind of dodges it and grabs his arm, you know, and then he goes and comes over to Luffy, and he goes and while he's holding his arm still, and Luffy's like, let go of my arm, you know, he grabs like a piece of ground that he's stuck in out from underneath him and just picks him up, and he goes, well, the one thing about the devil fruit, you know, because he knows obviously he has the power of the devil fruit now, is that, you know, you sink. He goes, of course, in your condition, you'd sink anyway. So everybody's like, oh no, the ocean, you know, every Sanji, Zoro, they're all like thinking, oh my god, you know, the same thing, that he's going to throw him in the ocean. Well, Luffy goes and he's like, go pistol, boom, and he just goes to sock him right in the mouth. Frickin' Arlong goes, and remember he chewed a cannonball earlier, several chapters ago, but, you know, chewed a cannonball and spit it out, so this guy needed a bit off a shotgun, of course, from Belmare, you know, so apparently he's got strong jaws, and so he goes and bites frickin' Luffy's hand, bites onto it as Luffy punches him in the mouth, and Luffy's like, damn it, you know, you biter? And I just thought the whole thing was just funny, the comical exchange, because here you have this just great action, you know, piece going on, and there's just some comedic moments happening too. But so he winds up, you know, tossing him into the ocean, and you know, because like I said, remember Arlong Park is kind of butted up almost like a marina, you know, right onto the sea there. So he goes and tosses him in, and of course Luffy's stuck in this piece of, you know, this piece of ground, concrete, whatever, stone that's now sinking to the bottom. He has no strength, you know, he can't get himself out. And Zoro and Sanji, you know, they stop and kind of turn their attention. They're like, we gotta save him. And then Zoro is like, or Sanji I think says, Zoro actually, he says to Sanji, he says, that's exactly what they want us to do, you know. And then he goes, I think we need to. And then Sanji finishes his sentence, and he's like, oh, take care of these guys first. So they turn to go and take care of them, you know, to focus their attention on them, and I guess Luffy can wait a little bit. So that is how, you know, the chapter wraps up and ends, and ultimately these are fun. These are the ones that really get your heart racing. Like I said, I think this one was good because it was a little bit comical, you know, with some of the things that were happening. I mean, Luffy just gets himself into these funny predicaments, and it was actually, I actually had to go back and read the last chapter because I had noticed that he stomped his feet in the ground but didn't know that they were stuck in the ground afterwards, you know, until I went and connected the dots and read them, you know, and put the two chapters together, then I reread the last chapter and then said, oh, okay, he was still stuck from when he did that move, that whirlwind move. So, but all in all, it was a lot of fun. Things are starting to heat up. I'm definitely looking forward to diving into the next one. Let me know what you think, though, Nation, in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button, if you think I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We'll look forward to catching you in the next one, Nation.
Why is this girl crying? She clearly is not from Russia. In Russia, we have no time for tears. When we cry, it is liquid fire that comes from our eyes. Maybe she's crying because you have not subscribed yet. I don't know.